Good morning, welcome in on this live. My name is Helen Jennings. I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK, the sunny UK this morning, and as always coming in this morning to do a bit of crafting with you and to see what we can find to play with today. And as we did yesterday, we're going to do a bit of hybrid crafting. We're going to do a little bit of playing with some established things and playing with some new, and see what we can come up when we mix them all up together. So we got morning Emma and Caroline and Lisa and Valerie. Lovely to see you all. If you do come on live, do pop on and say hello. And if you come on later, let me know that you're checking in. It's always lovely to see who's been around. Morning Charlotte, and it's lovely to share this time with you. So, not had my daisies out for a long time, but a couple of reasons why I got my daisies. One was this sort of stamp here reminded me of something that is new. And also, as I was flicking through my emails yesterday, as you do, I came across the email for this week's Global Design Project Challenge. And I don't do challenges every week, but occasionally I will dip into a challenge if it sort of sparks my interest. And the challenge this week was a colour challenge. And the colours that they gave you, so if you've never done a challenge, good morning Jackie, if you've never done a challenge, they are various. Some have got sketches, some have got themes, some are tic-tac-toe boards where you have to choose 3 across or 3 down. This particular one was a colour challenge, and the colours that they had in the challenge were Blushing Bride, Soft Sea Foam and Pretty Peacock. Morning Wendy, which I thought was quite a pretty combination. So I sort of scanned across my stamps and thought, what could I use with those colours? And I thought, well, actually the daisies might be quite nice. So I've picked out the daisies, the Daisy Lane stamp set. Now the Daisy Lane stamp set is carrying over. The other Daisy stamp set, which has now gone completely out of my head, is retiring if it hasn't already. But the punches are both carrying over. So the daisies are carrying on into the new catalogue, so we can carry on playing with those. But as I said, we're going to bring in some new things as well. So I've dug out some Blushing Bride, some Pretty Peacock, some Soft Sea Foam card, and I've also got those ink pads. Just grab some of the little bag of bits of the Blushing Bride. And let's see where this takes us, playing with a little bit of old and a little bit of new. So I'm going to put these to one side for a moment and bring over the stamp set. Now this is a red rubber stamp set, and I'm going to want both of those daisies. And it's really lovely bold. This is a beautiful daisy just here, particularly if you want stamps to make up a background. That's particularly beautiful. But let's pop these on some blocks. So there's the medium daisy and the bigger daisy. And I have got a piece of Whisper White card here because I thought we would stamp onto white card with our Blushing Bride ink to make our daisies to start with. Now, we had some good news yesterday. Stampin' Up have decided, they have been listening to the uproar that's been going on at the suggestion that they were going to retire the stamping pierce mat, and they issued an update yesterday to say that it is not going to retire. They are going to carry on. So although it won't be seen, you won't see it in the new catalogue because they'll have taken it out, it will still be available. So what I might actually do is print some labels to add in. Right, so I think I'm going to do stamp 4 big daisies, because for each of my daisies I'm going to need 2 of the punched out images to put together. And then we'll do 2 small ones. And guess what I've done? Again, I've put my stamping scrub, because as I'm busying around in the kitchen before I come on, I just sit it in its little tray and add water in it, so it's soaking the water up. And I keep forgetting to pick it up. So let me go pick that up. Then of course it's too wet, so it's a good job you can't see half of what I'm doing, isn't it? Squeezing it out and throwing the remaining water out the back door. It's a good job nobody's likely to be walking past our back door, isn't it? Okay. Hi Glenda. You join me as I'm wittering on about my stamping scrub and the fact that I've left it in the kitchen again. Okay. There we are, stamps cleaned. A bit of something just to dry my hand. So there we have our pink daisies, and I've done 4 of each. I might not need 4 of each, we will see. Here somewhere I've got a little soft sea foam. I've got a little sponge dauber, and this one is the one that I've got labelled up as soft sea foam. They don't come like that. I've labelled them all, and I'm just going to take some soft sea foam and add that to the middle of these daisies. It doesn't matter that they go over slightly, because that all adds a bit of shading, but we're going to punch them out in a minute anyway. And it's easier to do it while they're sort of in a solid piece in the cardstock, rather than when we've punched them out when they're a bit more flimsy. Morning Sophie, morning Jeanette. It's already feeling quite warm this morning. Right. So let's come in with our big punch first. Now, how am I going to get to line that up, or am I going to need to trim them a little bit? I think I might need, what I'm going to do is cut them, just try cutting them up there, just to give myself a bit more wiggle room. That's better. Let's just line that punch up there. When we're happy, we'll punch that out. We'll swing this one round. Wiggle that until we're happy. And there's one. And I'll do the same with this one. Just snip those corners off. It just gives you a little bit more wiggle room. And this one. That punch has eaten my card. I'll fiddle with that in a minute. I'll want it in a minute, so let's fiddle with it now. Come on out. Little bit of card. One. 2. Got you. Just shut that down for a moment. Let's bring in the smaller one. And again, we'll line that up until we're happy with it. Little wiggle here and a little wiggle there. Just going to cut out those 2 small ones for now. If I feel I need to go back to the others, I will. Now, because these punches have got, they are so sort of spiky almost, they do sometimes grab the card like that, but soon sorted. There we go. Okay, so we've got a couple of Blushing Bride and Soft Sea Foam daisies that we will bring together in a moment. So 2 big ones, 1 small one. Now the other things I've got, so as I promised, we're going to do a little bit of old and a little bit of new. I've grabbed a couple of the new embossing folders. Now these are the two of the smaller embossing folders. There's a couple of sets of 2 smaller embossing folders in the new catalogue, which is a bit of a hint of a smaller machine that may be coming relatively soon, that these are going to fit into rather beautifully. But that doesn't mean that they won't also fit into our bigger machine. So I've got a bit of soft sea foam card here that I've cut. That is 8.5 centimetres wide, which is the width of these embossing folders, and we may need to trim that down on the sides, we'll see. And it is 14.4 centimetres long, because that will fit nicely on the front of a card base. And again, we might need to trim it, might decide we need to trim it, but we'll see. And I don't know if you can catch this embossing folder, so we've got a sort of like a greenery coming down this corner and greenery coming up that corner, and sort of like this blank piece in the middle. Now this is just a standard size embossing folder, it's not a 3D one, just a standard embossing folder. So you just want your mats for your standard embossing folders, whatever that is on your particular machine. We'll run that through here. That's the first time I've used this embossing folder. That is rather pretty, isn't it? So we've got our greenery coming up from the bottom and our greenery coming down from the top. And that's pretty good edge to edge. Could perhaps be slightly smaller, but that's all looking good. So here I have got a pretty peacock, half an A4 piece of card that I've scored down the middle to make my base. Now I was wondering whether I was going to put a mat underneath, not that one obviously, whether I was going to have a mat completely underneath and then this, I might still do that, raised up slightly on dimensionals, just to give that sort of bit of a sense of that panel in the front. So we might well do that. We'll leave that there for now. And we've got our daisies that are going to come on here. And we'll decide how they're going to come. Are we having one each side? Or are we going to have them, might actually have them all in a cluster. So those are quite pretty. The other thing I thought that I would bring in, and this is where this stamp here reminded me that in our Forever Flourishing dies, which are some of our new dies, we've got this beautiful big fern here. So I think I'm going to cut that from some pretty peacock cardstock. Might need a couple actually, let's see. Oh, let me put my other plate back in my big shot, else it won't cut. And that won't be any fault of the dies, that will be completely user error. Let's run that through again. First time I've used these. First cut. They're rather nice, aren't they? Let's do another one. Really pretty colour combination. Let me just snip that round there like that. Have this coming here. This one coming in there somewhere possibly. So those are very pretty, they work quite well with those punches. What greeting shall we have? I think we'll go with smile. Now let me see, how wide is that smile? It is just over 3/4 of an inch. Actually, I think the smile itself I would get on a piece of card that's 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to take a little bit of Soft Sea foam. Let's bring in another new toy, and one I think I'm going to be playing with a lot. Let's bring in our pretty peacock ink pad. And let's stamp that smile. I'm going to trim that down. Bring it down that way a bit, and hopefully I'm going to be able to make this, yes, 3/4 of an inch wide. And then I'm going to take a piece of pretty peacock that is an inch wide. I'm going to bring in this new punch just here, and this is, you've got two different ends on it. So this one is sort of curly, more of a curly, this is a flatter end. I think I'm going to go with the flatter end on this one. And can you see those stitch lines? That means that you can do a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch and an inch wide strip of paper into there. So this is the 3/4. It might just be, it looks like that's slightly over 3/4. Let's just trim a smidge more off of it. Might do it actually with this trimmer, would probably be better. Just want the tiniest smidge to come off that edge. About like that. That's better. I'm going to put it in this way so that I can turn it over and make sure that we're not punching what we've just greeted, and the piece we've just greeted, stamped on without greeting. Let's get the words right. I'm going to come in and do that again because I think we could come a bit nearer to our smile. And then this end here, I'm going to cut about there. Then we pop that in there. And we have a nice little smile greeting tagged on both ends. I'm going to cut this piece here so it's about 2.5 inches long, and this again is only just starting to play with this, so I'm sure that it's going to be trial and error. I'm going to work this out better as I go along. I'm going to pop that in there and punch that end and pop that in there. And punch that end. Now we have a beautiful mat to put our greeting on. Fab. So let's put this baby together. Now let me have a think. Have we got any, what ribbons and things have we got? Got some new ones of those as well. Quite tempted to come in with a little bit of this golden thread. So that is another new item in the new catalogue. It's part of one of the bundles of threads and things. Let's see if I can find out which one for you while I slurp my tea. Obviously I can't show you the catalogue yet, but it's here just to one side. So that is actually in the Forever Greenery. So there's 2 ribbons in that particular set. There's a few little bundles of ribbons, so you get sort of a few in a pack rather than just the one. And this particular one has got this very vanilla, sort of like a weave almost, ribbon, and this gold thread, which obviously is quite a nice thick gold thread. You could pull individual threads out of that if you wanted to, but I think we'll leave it as a whole for today. But those are the combo pack, the ribbons that you get in that particular combo pack, and that is the combo pack that you get with this Forever Greenery, which is where the sweets, which is where the embossing folders have come from, and those dies. So we are being quite coordinated. Right. So, layer 1, we're going to stick directly onto our pretty peacock card base. Layer 2, I'm going to get some dimensionals. Oh, I've just found my silicone mat that I couldn't find the other day. That didn't help me with my search for dimensionals. I'm going to grab my pack out of my class box because it's obviously going to be a little while before we get back to using those. So I might as well use these ones up and stock it up fresh when we come to doing classes. So let's put some dimensionals on the back here, and I have to say it's not looking as if that's going to be very soon. Not face-to-face classes anyway. We can continue to hang out in the virtual world indefinitely. Right, so that's that panel to come on the front, so it's the same length as the one underneath it. Just by putting those dimensionals on it, we've given it, it's risen it up, and we've got that embossed element top and bottom. Let us just stick together these daisies. Obviously I didn't need really to sponge one of the daisies because it's going underneath anyway. So just wiggle that round until you're happy that the petals are positioned. You can give them a bit of a tweak and a wiggle, curl them with your bone folder just to add a bit of life to them. Particularly if you're using them in a home decor project, you can really shape them then. If they're going to go in an envelope, they tend to get flattened slightly anyway. Nice thing about using a wet glue is you do have that wiggle time to move it round till you're happy with its positioning. Forgot how pretty these daisies are. We get so carried away with new things. We forget about lovely things we've already got. Right, so let's decide where we're going to put these daisies and these leaves. So do I want too big and a small, or do I want a small and too big? I think I'm going to go a small down here and two big ones just there. I'm going to pop a dimensional on the back of those just to pop them up. So we'll have one here and one here, and we'll have this little one coming in here. I can just about sit a dimensional behind there without it showing. And then let's pop in these leaves. I'm going to put some glue on these sort of ends. I won't necessarily glue it all down all the way. This little one coming out down here. Now what I should have done first and haven't done is added in my gold thread. So that's going to be a do as I say, not do as I do moment, isn't it? And we'll have this one coming out down here. Now this gold thread has got some sellotape on the end just to stop it fraying out, which it does rather beautifully, just like that. So I think don't need them to be quite that long. I'm going to take a couple of loops like that. And actually I might take a little piece of washi tape, seeing as I haven't tucked it in first. I might actually wrap that round with a piece of washi tape and then put a glue dot on the washi tape or two. Have that coming in under there. And then we'll have another couple of loops of the tape. Obviously what would have been the sensible thing would have been to a couple of big loops before you stuck your flowers on. But hey, if like me you decide as an afterthought you're going to add in a little bit of thread, it's never too late. Let's add a couple more glue dots to our little bundle of thread there. Ooh. And we'll add that in again down here, so it's meeting up with the other little bundle as if it was a double loop. There, looking pretty. So we could add in a little bit of sparkly things somewhere in amongst my sparkly things. We've added in some gold loops, so I've also got the gilded gems that we had with the ornate frame set. So we could just pop a few little gilded gems in there. And we've got our smile. Where shall we add our smile? Let me just put some glue on here. Yeah, I think I'll do that so that it's sticking out. Got dimensional backs everywhere. Sort of tucking in over the leaves on that side. And so that edge of that shaped end is sort of level with the edge of our embossed. So that's quite pretty. So that was the Global Design Challenge, colour challenge for this week, which I had the email come through yesterday, for Pretty Peacock, Soft Sea Foam and Blushing Bride. And I thought, well, let's do a little bit of daisies with it. You know what that daisy's calling for, don't you? Let's add in a bit of Wink of Stella. That probably won't show up on camera. But let's have a sparkly centre to our daisies. I can see the sparkle, but you might not be able to. So there we go. That's rather pretty. So thank you, Global Design Challenge team, for giving us the colour inspiration. I shall write that up into a blog post. And thank you all for joining me while we made it. So that's that one. But let's see what else we can do with these daisies, and with new things and old things, and mixing them all up. I thought that I would perhaps do something. It's very pretty, isn't it? And smile. That's a nice greeting, isn't it? It's very warm in here, ladies. I think it's just me. I think I'm having more and more power surges these days. I think hot stuff. As I said to Sam just now, hot mama, but only in flashes. Right, I thought we would use one of these. Now, these are the In Good Taste Designer Series paper, and they are fabulous because they are all, you get 20 sheets, 24 sheets in here. Don't want to fib to you. 24 sheets, 12 double-sided designs, 2 of each. But they're just fabulous. And you know, we did our sort of brick work yesterday with the bricks and mortar embossing folder, but we could equally have done something. This is what I said, we could equally have done our silhouette. So our little girl that we did on our bricks and mortar, with our bricks and mortar embossing folder, we could stamp her onto something like that. Would be rather fun. But the decision is which to use. Now, I was quite tempted by this sort of almost waffle stitch textile. Those tiles are quite nice. That sort of wood is really lovely. These tiles are nice. This brick. I'm going to go back to my pink waffle. Isn't that pretty? And it looks like it should be 3D. Looks like it should have texture on the paper. It doesn't, but it looks like it should have. But that's really pretty, isn't it, that paper? So I don't think we're going to want masses of it. I think what we'll do is, I've got a piece here that this was from yesterday, where we made a side opening card. Let's score this to make another card like this, and we can either have it as a tent fold or side opening, depending on how we decide as we go along. I'm going to cut this so that it is 10 centimetres. It'll go either way, so that's fine. We'll have it 10 centimetres by no, I'm going to go 13.9 by 9.5. There's nothing like indecision, is there? I used to be decisive and now I'm not so sure. I'm going to grab a piece of, have I got a big enough piece of purple pink in my oddment bag? Or do I need to get a piece of card out? Ooh. It's looking optimistic. throw that on the floor, shall we? Cut this 10 by 14.4. Now I've made that petal pink. Does it want to be petal pink or does it want to be blushing bride? What I could do, of course, is look at the colours on the no, it says blushing, it says some petal pink. So we'll go petal pink. Oh. Now, something else I thought I might use, and I've just dropped them on the floor, which is not at all helpful or what I want to do. Is I thought I would use, I need to find somewhere nice and safe, a nice box to put these in. I might use one of these. Aren't these gorgeous? These are the gold laser foil. These again are out of that Forever Greenery suite of products. And they're called the Forever Gold Laser Cut Speciality Paper. And you can see that you've got various labels and things there, various leaves. Again, you've got some sort of ferny type leaves that you can use, or you've got these beautiful mats. Quite drawn to this one. Just pop that out. So as you can see, they pop out beautifully. Shiny, shiny gold foil. So you get 3 sheets of this particular one. It's all been nicely laid up with tissue, which is only a problem when you then go and drop it on the floor. And then the other design in here is this, like these card back layouts. So you can pop one of these out and have the entire back overlay on one of your cards. Overlay is the word I was looking for. So for instance, we could take our card and we could just overlay one of those over the top of it. And there's 6 different designs there, and again 3 different sheets. It's rather pretty, isn't it, that one? 3 sheets with those 6 designs on, and they are the gold on one side, but there's no reason why, if you don't want the gold, you can't turn it over and use it as white, or you can spritz the other side. Lots of options for creating much gorgeousness. Look at that. Not going to need to do much more, are we? Isn't that just beautiful? Now, I'm going to stick with our daisies. I wonder. I'm going to bring in some gold embossing powder. Let's put this to one side for a minute. And my Versamark. I think my big daisy. So this is just a piece of cardstock out of my ornament bag. One. Two. Let's bring in some gold embossing powder. Seem to have some embossing powder that wants to stick over there. We are punching it out, so it won't be a massive problem. There we go. Lid, what am I looking for? Lid to the embossing powder. Brain, what are you doing? Heat gun. I have to tell you ladies, I need this heat gun like I need a hole in the head at the moment. My little fan is plugged in, and is it going to create lots of noise? It is plugged in, so apologise if that fan whirs in a minute. It's either that or I cook. So exciting things planned today. I've got to go and fetch my car from the garage. It passed its MOT, which is always good news. Just needed a bulb replacing and a bit of a heads up that I need to keep an eye on the back tyres. So that's always good news. So I've got that to fetch, and my catalogues are arriving today. Yay! So we'll be getting that all, getting those sorted and out in the post to you all. So we have some petal pink and gold. Oh, yeah, it was a service and MOT. So all done. The irony, of course, is at the moment it's hardly coming off the drive. I've probably driven it about 4 times in the last 8 weeks. And even then it's been very local. Right, so we've got our gold embossed daisy. We're going to have on there. Some sort of a greeting. I think I might take my thread and do a big bow with it. I have a feeling this thread is going to be one of those things that may get used a lot. Have a bit of a bow of that coming out underneath there. I would snip the ends on it if I could see my scissors. Now somewhere I also grabbed the what shall we have as a greeting for that one? And how shall we have our greeting for that one? So we could have this going sort of this way and side to side. It's rather fun. I might also grab, we have some of the petal pink ribbon that is carrying over, so I might have some of this going underneath here, and across the card base like that. It's rather pretty. It's almost one of those that you're like, oh, do I really want a greeting on there? What I might do is come back to the daisy stamp set. So I think what I'm going to do, let me lift those off. Lift that off. And we're all going to pray to the God of stamping that this works beautifully. I'm going to stamp friend down there. Bring back in the gold embossing powder. So far, so good. Nice. Okay, let's put this together. So I'm going to stick this designer series paper. So whereas in the past we've had some bigger bumper packs of paper that have been a little bit thinner, this isn't a pack that is thinner, so it is slightly more for the pack of paper. It's sort of £20 as opposed to sort of 11-ish, which normally a pack of paper is, but you get twice as much in it, and it is all our, you know, top quality thickness of paper. And as I said when I did my unboxing, if you're somebody that takes photos of anything, make fabulous photo backdrops. So let's stick some of this ribbon round here. So this is one that's carrying over the organdy striped ribbon. Very pretty. Not got much left on that reel. Then we will pop this onto our card base. So a 10th fold thick whisper white card base, all standard sizing. And then we're going to put this on so that the it comes as an angle. I'm going to pop that up onto some dimensionals, I think, just because it's going over the top of that ribbon. And let's have that on that angle like that. Let us put our daisy together. to use a glue dot to secure my little gold bow. Actually, it's quite a big gold bow, but that's what I want. I want it sticking out either side of the daisy. And have that sitting in there in the middle with our daisy on the top. I'm going to use a couple of mini dimensionals either side of that, just so that it sits over the top of that glue dot, or glue dots, and the knot on the bow. Pretty, pretty. I'm just wondering, actually, let's just see. I might not go ahead, but we will see. I'm going to grab a little piece of gold foil. I'm going to use this punch. So this punch is one that you can do borders with, and it will give you a flowery border, but it also gives you lots of little flowers. You can just add in, so it's like flower confetti. So let's add some of those in as well. So we've added quite a few new things in, as well as our established daisy punch. Oh, got one on my finger just there. But let's just add in these little daisies. Don't want to lose that one. It's very simple, isn't it, Glenda? It's amazing. I mean, it's just one punched daisy and that gold. They're gorgeous, aren't they, those gold die cut pieces. That'd be really pretty for a wedding, wouldn't it, or an engagement, or just to send to a friend. So quite a few new things. So let's have a little recap at what we've played with. I still haven't stamped with this Forever Fern stamp set. We will get round to playing with that. So in the main, we have used our Daisy Lane as our base card. Hi Siobhan. So the Daisy Lane is our base card, base stamp set that we've used this evening. Oh my word, I'm at the end of the day already and I've only just started. Not even had my breakfast yet. So we've got the large die, the large daisy, the medium daisy, and the two punches to punch those out. So we've used all of those. We've used this little confetti flower. Yeah, isn't it beautiful? The little confetti flower punch that has given us those little flowers that are sitting in the background there. We have used the gold foil die cuts that I so helpfully threw on the floor. So these are the card overlays, and then we've got those beautiful ones. We've just taken our one out from there, that lovely wreath. That's beautiful, isn't it? So we've got those gold overlays die cuts that we've used. We used one of this pair of embossing folders. We use this little greenery one just here. It's not necessarily called greenery 1. I've just labelled it up as greenery 1 and greenery 2. So I know I've got them both. So we've used those. We've used some of that new gold thread in the background there, as well as some of the petal pink thread that is carrying over. And on our other card, we've used the ferny die cuts from the greenery set, and we've used this new punch that can do your ends in 3 different widths, so that you've got your layered up greetings. So there we go. 2 different cards, as always. Well, not always, sometimes we just do one very fancy one, and occasionally we do 3 easier ones, but generally we have 2 cards, and these are today's. Let's see if we can find what background shall we have for those. I'm going to take, actually, one of these papers is a really nice grey slate. Let's have a grey slate background to lay our cards on. There we are. You can see what I mean by they'd be really good background for photographs. In fact, I think I shall keep that one out to photograph those. So this one is all gold and sparkly and twinkly, and this one will now go beautifully into the Global Design Challenge Colour Challenge for this week, with its Soft Sea Spray, Pretty Peacock and Blushing Bride. So good fun. I think it must be time for breakfast. Or if you're elsewhere, it might be time for dinner or anything else, or if you're catching us at a different time of the day. But thank you for coming to play this morning, and I'll be back tomorrow and see what else I can find that we can do some mixing and matching with established things and new things. So see you in the morning.